Grow your cleaning business. Make more money. Have more time. This is the Profit Cleaners Podcast with your hosts, Brandon Condry and Brandon Shane.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Profit Cleaners, the only place where you can learn from the top 1% of cleaning business owners from around the world to take it to the next level and win. I am your host, Brandon Shane, and I am joined by my amazing co-host in the house.
Ooh, amazing. I got amazing on that one. I'm Brandon Condry with my coffee.
That's right. And together, guys, we are the Profit Cleaners, and we're broadcasting to you live and sharing some amazing, maybe not amazing, I don't know, some crazy news about the economy and all the situation that we're finding ourselves in the recession, the coming recession, whatever it might be. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more on today's show, and just some leading indicators, some possible solutions and actions we'd be taking as this all progresses. So and then we might have something fun at the end of the show to share with you guys, so stick around. As always, it's going to be a great show. So but yeah, let's jump in, Brandon. Let's tell people, first of all, I just want to just say that you were just in California, and I'm up in Colorado, and I just want to say that it's really cool that we still have a cleaning business going. We still have all these systems in place, moving everything along, and we're
that's a really good point. Yeah, this is the first vacation I've taken since my daughter was born. So that's predating the cleaning company by 3 years. So she's 8, the cleaning company's 5. So yeah, in 5 years I didn't really take a vacation. But yeah, it was great. We took a week off, took the kids to SeaWorld. We got a kick-ass Airbnb that was 2 blocks from Mission Beach, and it was awesome. So
awesome.
Yes, it does get better. If you're in the first 2 years right now and you are freaking out about how much you're getting paid and how you're never going to be able to do anything again, don't worry. Like, we were there too.
Yeah, and that's the point. Like, I think a lot of you guys out there, including ourselves, like, you started the business for a reason, right? And it was for more time, maybe it was for freedom. I think a lot of that word freedom encompasses a lot of what people start a business for, but the freedom to do what you want to do, where you want to do it, with who you want to do it, when you want to do it, that's what we're talking about. And so, like, the fact that we were able to just take, this time with our family recently, I think that's huge, and I think that's just encouraging to know that, after a certain amount of time you can do that. And that's what you start a business, it's never going to be done, it's never going to be finished, but if you build the right systems, if you put the right things in place, even in a crazy economy, the systems and things are going to keep things going, and the business will keep moving forward. You got to keep innovating, obviously. You got to keep pushing things forward. You can't just lay over and roll over like some people will, and businesses will go out of business. But this is also an amazing time, guys, because if the economy is going crazy, that means people are going to give up, and that means this is an opportunity for you to be more creative, to be more innovative, and keep going, and kind of take the spot of the people that just kind of put their head in the sand and give up. So I think over the next few years, you're going to see a lot more of that, and now's a great time to be starting a business or be in business in general, especially in the cleaning business. You're solving problems for people. People need problems solved all the time, and you're going to be the one to help them. So
yeah.
But yeah. Let's get into it though, Brandon.
Yeah, let's talk recession. I think I mentioned it before on the podcast, but I like economics. If I did college over again, maybe I'd be in social science like economics. But so I listen to a lot of economics podcasts. I find it interesting, but I also find it applicable to owning a business. I think that's important to kind of keep track of those things. So a lot of these podcasts are talking about recession, like an inbound recession, as a direct result of high inflation. So inflation is not very good for an economy. It makes things very unsustainable very quickly. And so here in the United States, the Federal Reserve is going to counteract that by raising interest rates. And so, we've got listeners in Australia and all over the world, but all of those countries have central banks, and they essentially all do the same thing. So the idea behind that is you raise the interest rates, you make it more expensive to borrow money, which just slows everything down. So that means companies may not be so interested in taking out a loan to build a building if it costs 6% instead of 2%. And so you try and raise interest rates to kind of slow it down. So like the Fed in the United States is trying to engineer what they call a soft landing, quote unquote. So that it's going to be like a dip into a recession and then like, hey, everything's normal again. Like that's their plan. This is not 2008 where there's some big driver behind it that's causing the problem. It's not COVID 2.0. It is literally just the Fed raising interest rates. And so as a direct result of that, what's happened is we've had 2 successive quarters where GDP, gross domestic product, has gone down, has gone negative. And so a lot of economists will define that as that is the definition of recession. You have 2 successive quarters where it went down. And so we're in that. They made that announcement this morning. We are recording today on July 28th, and that announcement came out this morning that they had a second, quarter with a drop in GDP. And so hypothetically, we're in a recession right now.
Right. And so what does that mean? Like when they're doing that, is it supposed to combat all these raising prices and bring that back down so it's more livable again? Or like what's the point of them doing that in the first place?
It's all supposed to have trickle-down effects, right? So if you made the money more expensive to borrow, that means that people that are building houses are not going to build as many houses. And so companies that would have financed an expansion in a different city by borrowing money to do it, by opening a line of credit or getting a loan, would maybe think twice about doing it. And then if it gets worse in the recession sense, companies may lay people off. And I know if you're paying attention to it, you've seen headlines as well, but most of that's in the tech industry right now. So tech companies start laying people off, but tech's kind of volatile anyway. But like if you take the construction example, it's expensive to get a construction loan to build a house, so you're not going to do it. All right, I have to lay some of my staff off. I got to lay off all these framers. I'm going to stop calling my plumbers often because we don't have as many jobs. So the plumber is going to lay off some people because they don't have as many work. And so those effects kind of trickle down, and that's the definition of the recession, really. And so that helps the economy because if it lowers the demand for people buying stuff because you got laid off or your job cut your pay or cut your hours or whatever, you're less inclined to go buy anything. And so consequently, prices should come down. Like that is the idea behind raising interest rates and inflation. There are lots of funny acronyms or terms for this, not acronyms, but like idioms. So like prices go up on an elevator and they come down on the stairs. Like it doesn't happen very quickly. So, or like they go up on a rocket and come down in a parachute, like something like that. So you can't, this isn't going to turn around tomorrow. But here's the other thing about recession, and here's why we're talking to you about it on a cleaning podcast. The recession is not going to affect everybody equally. It's not going to affect all industries the same, all areas the same. And so we had talked about this at our quarterly meeting, and we kind of touched on it in the last 2-part episode, but what can you do as a cleaning company locally to see if your local market has entered your personal definition of a recession, the company's definition of a recession? And so we had spent some time looking into that, and that's what we wanted to talk to you guys about on this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just as another side note, while you're talking about all that, Brandon, we have been talking a lot recently about the hiring kind of crisis and the issues. We're having a lot of issues with hiring right now. So potentially this might have a positive effect, right, on the fact that more people would be looking for jobs in this recession. And maybe it'd be easier to hire. I don't know. But maybe that's a potential benefit of...
It is a potential benefit. It's a potential upside. It's also a really fine line to walk. So, like, let's stick with our construction metaphor. All right, they laid off the framer for the house building company, and there's no other construction jobs right now because it dried up. Well, that person's spouse may be more likely to enter the job market if they are not. So, like, if their wife is a stay-at-home mom watching the kids right now, but dad can't get construction jobs, well, maybe they switch roles and a mom goes out to find what she can. And cleaning, historically speaking, has been a lot of Hispanic females in our area. That's kind of the market that we not that we target, but it's just who applies for the jobs in Albuquerque. So that is a way that it could work. Now, the downside of it, the fine edge to walk side of it, is that if the recession is too hard, too great, you end up with 2008, where not only are your potential employees looking for work, but your customers also lost their jobs, and now they're going to start canceling cleaning, which is why we needed to build out some system to find some leading indicators of, like what a local recession might look like.
Yeah. So yeah, let's share with them. We just basically have a list of bullets from our annual meeting that we're like, these are the leading indicators we want to look for to be like, oh, this is like, oh crap, we need to start doing something. This is happening. And then we have a list of actions or solutions to take, right? On the other end of that.
Potential ones. We've got potential indicators and potential solutions to take, but you need to come up with whatever is going to look at you. So we'll just cover these. Right. We're going to cover with the indicators first, and then we'll talk to you about what to do after. So, all right. So one of them that we could be looking for is, cancellations, obviously. So like cancellations actually occur all the time. Like there's organic cancellations. I'm moving, like whatever. But did the number of cancellations where they specifically mentioned that I lost my job, what was the increase of people doing that? So like that is a point that we track. We track if people tell us that they got laid off, and you should too. And so if the cancellations from I lost my job like suddenly spike, that means that a big employer or many employers locally have started laying off people. So they're not going to pay for cleaning. Like that's part of it. And then the other side of that cancellation coin is there's kind of a lead in to fully canceling. They may change their service from bi-weekly to monthly or like weekly to monthly. And so if suddenly the number of customers we have, their switching service starts to skyrocket, it means that they're feeling the crunch, but they don't want to cancel yet. They really like the cleaning and want to keep it. But if those suddenly start to go up and up and up,
we're tracking
then
those.
that's
We look
like
at those
a warning
numbers
sign, like,
every
hey, something's
week.
happening in the local market.
I would say it has been a little bit more, right? Would you say, Brandon? Like just in general cancellations. And we have more customers than we've ever had too. But so that's gonna happen. But
Thanks for joining us today. To get more info, including show notes, updates, trainings, and super cool free stuff, head over to ProfitCleaners.com. And remember, keep it clean.